know the strangest thing about living far from home? It's not the first winter, when the cold cuts into your skin in a way you never imagined. It's not even that feeling of paralysis in the grocery store, standing between 20 different kinds of cereal, suddenly realizing you don't know how to choose. Number. The strangest thing is when you try to light a stick of incense. You light it in front of an old photograph, propped up on a bookshelf in your rented apartment. And you realize, this incense, it has nowhere to go. It doesn't connect to an ancestral altar. It's just smoke, lingering in a foreign room. For years, I've asked myself, why do we leave? Why do millions of Vietnamese and so many other Asians make this seemingly irrational decision? To leave the only place on earth we truly belong. We tell people it's for opportunity, for education, for the future. But that's only half the story. The real story is far more complicated. It doesn't start with a dream. It starts with a calculation. For many of us in Vietnam, we are stuck in something called the aspiration trap. It's when you earn a Vietnamese salary, but you're forced to pay for the things that matter most, like your children's education or your parents' health care at international prices. The tuition for a good international school in Saigon can be the same as tuition in California, but the salary of a middle manager is not. And so, the calculation begins. You realize you are on a treadmill that's been set to maximum speed, and you can never catch up. You work yourself to the bone, not to get rich, but just to not fall behind. We don't leave because we hate our homeland. We leave because we love our families too much to watch them be limited by that equation. And so, a daughter decides she will become a nurse in Germany. A son decides he will become a software engineer in Texas. They don't leave for themselves. They leave as their parents. This is the first burden the expatriate carries. You aren't just carrying your own luggage. You are carrying the hopes of an entire family, sometimes an entire lineage, and nobody tells you just how heavy that hope is. You arrive. The first shock isn't the culture, it's the silence. In Vietnam, life is an orchestra of sounds, street vendors, traffic, laughter. Here, especially in the suburbs, the silence is deafening. And in that silence, you realize another reason we never dare say out loud. We leave to breathe. To breathe, not just clean air, but to breathe air free from judgment. Back home, we are bound by 1,000 invisible threads. The neighbor's kid you're always compared to. When are you getting married? Why no kids yet? How much do you make? Every family dinner is a tribunal. Every class reunion is a comparison. Love in Vietnam is sometimes expressed as control. Here, suddenly, nobody cares. You can wear what you want, love whom you want, live how you want. You are free. But then, another bomb explodes. You realize the price of no one judging you is that no one cares about you. You could get sick in your apartment and 2 days later your neighbors wouldn't know. The freedom you craved is also profound loneliness. You've escaped the cage, but you've also lost the warmth of the nest. And then we work. God, do we work? We work like machines. Because we were taught that hard work beats talent. We take 2, even 3 jobs. We work as nurses, as nail technicians, as Uber drivers, as coders. We work weekends. We work holidays. We are proud of our diligence. But then we look at our native-born colleagues. They leave at 5 p.m. They go to yoga. They meet friends. They have a life. And you realize your diligence here is sometimes seen as strange, or worse, naive. You're playing a game where you don't understand the rules. You work twice as hard, but when the promotion comes, it goes to the colleague who talked more, worked less, but knew how to network at the cocktail party. You learn a painful truth. In the West, it's not enough to be good at your work. You have to be good at talking about your work. But there's another paradox, one that young overseas Vietnamese are discovering. They born here or educated here early. They have the Western degree, the perfect English. They try to climb the corporate ladder in America, and they hit the glass ceiling. They realize that to become a senior director in New York, it might take 15 years, and they'll still always be seen as the Asian colleague. But if they take that same degree, that same experience, and go back to Vietnam, they get the red carpet. They can become a director by 30. They are headhunted, and this is when the biggest bomb in our minds explodes. We left Vietnam to get an international degree, and now we realize the greatest value of that degree is to bring it back to Vietnam. So, what are we really running from, and what are we chasing? Perhaps all those reasons, money, career, freedom, are just the surface. The real reason, the one buried deep in the subconscious of every Asian diaspora, is much deeper and more painful. It is the debt. We are the second, or 1.5 generation. Our parents sacrificed everything. They didn't just sacrifice money. They sacrificed their lives on a boat. They sacrificed their dignity working their first menial jobs in a new country, not knowing a word of English. They sacrificed their youth in cold winters so we could go to school. They sacrificed. And that debt? It's invisible, but it suffocates us. We are not just living our own lives, we are living their next life. We must succeed because failure is not an option. Failure means their sacrifice was in vain. We leave, not to find a new life, but to pay an old debt. We work 60 hours a week, not because we are greedy, but because we feel guilty when we rest. How dare we rest when our parents never did? This is the silent tragedy of the Asian diaspora. We achieve the American dream, but we forget how to dream. We have the big house, the nice car, but we don't know how to be happy because we are always asking, have I done enough? Are my parents proud? And then the final paradox. After 20 years of working ourselves to the bone in America, saving every penny, what do we do with that money? We use it to buy an apartment in Da Nang. We make plans to retire in Vietnam. We left Vietnam to earn enough money to go back to Vietnam. We become perpetual foreigners. When we are in America, we are the Vietnamese person. We cook pho, we listen to Trin music, we teach our kids Vietnamese to hold on to what little identity we have left. But when we go back to Vietnam, with our slight accent, with our generous spending, people call us Viet Kieu, the overseas Vietnamese. We don't fully belong here, and we no longer fully belong there. So why did we leave? Perhaps we leave, not to run away from home, but to, for the first time in our lives, be able to see home clearly. It's like having to step back to see the whole painting. You have to leave to understand how much you love that place. You have to taste the loneliness of freedom to appreciate the warmth, however suffocating, of family. We leave to learn how to build an altar in our hearts, one that doesn't need smoke, but where the connection is never broken. And in the end, the reason we leave is perhaps to find a way back home. What's your story? Why did you or your parents leave? And did you find what you were looking for? Share your story in the comments below. Every story is a piece of this great journey. And if these feelings resonated with you, please subscribe so we can continue to tell the stories that often go untold.